Yeah. Anxiety, fighting it with sobriety, tirelessly with the effort. Drinking the only method, don't F with a lot of niggas because the concept of love was outdone by the feeling of drugs. I don't judge how you dealing with your tragedies, just a formality, really ain't nothing ideally about dealing with the pain, heard that death in the brain. I do all that's in my power just to keeping you sane. So can you live? You have to tell me all about your story from your genesis, knowing that I'll listen if you did. So can you live? You can tell me all about them guys and how they did you dirty, so you leave these niggas with your pride. So can you live? I know that clouds darken in the skies, but you gotta keep in mind somewhere the sun shines. Can you live? I know you got your mind feeling trouble. Keep faith and know that I love you, know when you struggle. Look, live for me, live for me.
So welcome back to the Fresh Pro Poop Bofcast.
Oh, wow. We changed the title up. Okay.
Yeah. So welcome back to the Fresh Produce Podcast, where I talk about crusty things and sometimes with some crusty people. I hope everyone is doing okay despite all the craziness going on. And hopefully this episode doesn't make it worse, because we got a special guest in the virtual house calling in from Crosstown, Maryland, the one and only Kwest Markz.
Hey, what's good, everybody? What's good? What's up? How everybody feeling for this quarantine time?
Don't cut your hair.
Bruh.
Anyways.
Don't cut my hair.
So Kwest Markz is a hip-hop artist based out of Waldorf, Maryland. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. He was temporarily here in Pensacola. We got in contact and started working on an album, which he continued when he moved back, and we were able to finish off the mixing and mastering here, which I'm super appreciative of, and for you continuing to work with me. In the intro of the podcast, you heard a preview of his song Can You Live, which is my personal favorite, so I had to open with that, and everyone else can just drink a beer. So,
I'm drinking it.
It is 10:47 at night, because I had set up the podcast with Kwest around 5:30, but he bailed on me.
Bruh.
Wow, that's tough.
Yeah, so the album Nowadays, if I'm not mistaken, it was not intended to be an album. So give us the story on that.
Well, so around the time I started, so I've been doing music since like 2010. So I think around like 2016, 2017-ish, like I stopped. Like I was like, this isn't going anywhere. I need to focus on like other life goals. So I stopped doing music. Fast forward, I'm living down in Florida. I'm going through personal things. I need to vent. And that's where you come in. I was like, I need to Google a studio. Yeah, I was like, I just need to like make a song, like just for like, I don't have a journal. Like, so my diary is like my songs. Like I put it all in my music and I play it back for myself. So generally, I found you and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to make this song, Fuck With Me. And that was the first song that's actually on the tape, which is actually ironic. But I was like, yeah, I'm just going to make this song and like, that's it. I'm just doing this because I want to vent. But like, for some reason, like you kept telling me to keep making these songs that I should make a tape, because for like the first month and a half, almost like 2 months, I was telling you like, yeah, I don't want to make a tape. And you're like, but why? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just not with it. Like, I just don't really need a tape. Like, for what? So originally it was just something for me to vent at a very hard time in my life. And I didn't have family and stuff down there in the area where I was, so music was my outlet. So originally, it wasn't supposed to be a tape. It was just supposed to be a few venting sessions.
That's cool. I mean, you say that I told you to do it, but I think it just came natural. Like most artists, it's going to come out eventually.
Yeah, because we were doing a lot of music, but I mean, at that time, I mean, there were some records that didn't even make the tape.
Yeah. Or
stuff that I started and I just scrapped. But over time, like you said, like the chemistry and everything was there. And I was like, you know what? I can trust him making my music with helping me put my songs and compose my stuff together. which is why I also, like, when I moved back, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep working with you. I don't know if you fully believe me or not, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna definitely let you know, and I'm gonna show you to my friends that make music, like, and it's cool that it worked out that way. I love how it's like transpired over time.
It
It's been
is,
dope.
man. Yeah, that's awesome. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
One of my questions was, what song stands out to you the most on this particular album and why? How do I have that? How do I have the song like off your album that like stands out to me the most, and you don't?
Because every song it transpired from an emotion. So it's just like, what emotion did I resonate? I would say "Sing About Me" resonates with me the most, but the problem is "Sing About Me" couldn't make it on all platforms because CD Baby was giving me pushback for like the actual audio file. So it's on the SoundCloud version and everything, but I would say "Sing About Me" resonates with me the most because, like, it was like an admission. I was admitting how bad my depression was, and at the time, while I was in Florida, I had a friend that passed away, and so at that time, like, in my mindset was like, well, why couldn't we switch places? You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't I have been the one that passed away? He the one that continued to do music, because to me, and probably, I mean, obviously to the, like, I leave this earth, like, I feel like he was a better artist than me. So it's just like, well, he had way more potential than me being an artist. Like, so it was very, I felt this vendetta towards death in a sense, and not because like necessarily it took my friend away, but it's like, well, why didn't it take me away and let my friend live? You know what I mean? Like, in that odd sense of transparency that I put in a record that I really don't. And I went on a whole like verse about it. Usually I'll make a sprinkle a line or two here, but that was probably like one of the most heartfelt and at the same time hardest verses I've ever had to write, because obviously I was crying through it.
Man.
But it's still honestly one of those songs like I can play over and over again. Like, I honestly don't care if it's something that's on the radio or if other people fuck with it. Like, I love that song a lot. And it even made it even more for me because, like, a team of people that I've never met a day in my life came together as a family and put it together. And so it has a lot of sentiment for me personally.
That's really cool.
We build something personal and have complete, at the time, strangers like say, you know what, I can add to this and make it better. And that was, I think, the first song I put out in almost 3 full years. That was like complete with like promo, cover art, and all that stuff like that. And it's still, at the time, it got received very well. And it really kicked off, I think, my confidence to actually do and pursue like the finishing this tape. So
that's really cool, because that was that song came out probably like a year before the actual tape, right?
Yep. It came out a year. Yeah, it came out a year and some months before my actual tape came out.
Yeah.
So
I remember listening to it one time and hearing your lyrics to it. I never asked you about it, but I was like thinking in my head, like, I wonder how much of this is actually, or things that you actually are feeling, and how much of it is you trying to write really good lyrics. But I remember listening to it and being like, dang, like, this verse is really good and it sounds really deep. But the style of song is really, I don't know, it sounds deep too, but because there's so many people on it, you would think a song that deep would be just you by yourself the whole time.
Yeah, this was also me like getting back into the swing of things when it comes to writing. Like, now I can write like 3 verses, no problem. But at that time, I was still like at the same time getting back into my writing bag. And I was like, yeah, I don't have 3 verses for this. And honestly, originally for that song, I believe there was 2 other people that were supposed to be on that song other than Cam and Izzy. But the problem was, I mean, they just never came through. And I was just like, fuck, well, I'm about to write this verse, but that didn't happen because Cam was like, oh, this is the song you're working on? And I was like, yeah. He was like, I got a verse for this. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I think the next time we were tweaking things and Lachey was there to add her vocals to it. Izzy was also there. And he was like, oh, I could add a verse to this too. And I was like, all right, fuck it. So that's how everybody came like and collabed on it. Originally, it was supposed to be a record with just me. And I was like, I'm not writing all that. And then I had other people that I was going to get on, but they loafed. So I was just like, all right, well, I'm going to get the best people I know that's out here. And like I said, I love the record. Like, I play that song. I probably play that song more than any song that I've played on my tape. So it just sucks. I couldn't get it on the actual, on all the other social media platforms. It kills me.
It was really cool how everybody came together. And, you know, that happens every now and then here where it's like a group of people come together and do something, and you really got to think, like, that probably won't happen again with the same people, the same vibe, the same everything. Yeah. And it's stamped in this song, which is really cool. And like you said, Izzy, Cam Taylor, Kayla Shea, like, they were on it. They were all here, and everybody was, like, on their game that day. I don't think I was waiting on anybody for, like, oh, this person needs to write. Like, everybody came in, did their part, hung out, and, you know, just worked out, man. I think it was a good, kind of like a good sign for you of, like, maybe you're going in the right direction with it. Yeah,
exactly. And that's honestly, if that record hadn't come together the way it came together and how easy and how dope it turned out, like, I probably would not have ended up making a tape. I would probably still be, like, right now, like, working on a tape and, like, my friend Tia convincing me to do it, you know?
Yeah.
I would have been delayed by a good 6 months, you know, if I hadn't got together with you guys to make that record. Like,
man. That's really cool, man. You know, when I first met you, I saw this guy, like, probably started rapping and, like, I don't. That was just kind of your style of, like, I'm not trying to be anybody, you know, because most people who come in have, like, a look of, like, I'm trying to live that rapper life, you know.
Bruh.
And when I met you, you were just like, man, this is who I am. And I don't know, when I heard your music, I was like, dang, like, this guy is not from here, that's for sure. Like, your hip-hop style is, you know, that's one thing I really like about your music is it's hip-hop. And you're not, to me, you're not like a Kendrick Lamar or a J. Cole, and that's not to say that you're not great. I'm saying, like, people point them out because they're hip-hop artists of today.
Right.
Where they're, like, trying to merge these genres together to fit today's sound. But you managed to get the hip-hop sound to still be relevant. Like, you don't try to go after beats that are like, oh, this is like a kind of like a trap beat that I'm going to try to do like a hip-hop style vocal over. So you keeping true to that, and not to mention that you're from, like, the Northeast, like, so you have that kind of in you already. And you know, it's just really cool hearing your music and being like, dude, like, just going crazy over it today, not even thinking, like, you know, because when you hear a boom bap record today that just got recorded yesterday, you're like, oh, that's old school, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't get that with your stuff. I'm like, yo, this song is sick. It's like you have this good ear of picking out good instrumentals and being able to write to them, and it not being, like, mainstream.
Yeah, like, that's been my whole thing. Is honestly, man, I couldn't be mainstream if I tried. Like, I've tried. I've tried. But my voice, I think, honestly, it's my voice. I don't necessarily have a cliche, marketable rap voice, you know what I mean? A lot of the time these days, like, when I rap or make songs, because I'm still obviously making music at a little slower pace, But like these days, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I hear like an outcastish sound from you because I like to add a melody into every type of fucking beat.
Yeah.
Because I just like melodies. Like I can't sing. Like I'm not the greatest singer in the world. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm gonna steal anybody's girlfriend or win any girl's heart from singing. Like I'm not that good at it. But I've learned like through my style of like my voice, like I've learned what notes I can hit, how I can harmonize this way and that way. And that's mainly my style.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I don't look at myself as honestly as J. Cole or like Kendrick. I honestly see myself as like an outcast.
Yeah,
like,
I can see that.
Like Andre or like Big Boy and stuff like that. Like I just try to make it every beat. I try to bend it to my will instead of me feeling like, well, I have to sound like this because it's this type of beat.
Yeah.
You know. So
that's really cool.
Always the challenge.
That's a big thing, is learning what your sound is, and a lot of people don't get that. Like people want to sing who can't sing, but don't, like you said, they don't learn their own voice to know like what they can sing.
I've met a dozen singers. I've met thousands of singers. And it's crazy. It's just like, I mean, I get it as a singer, as an artist in general. Like what you hear on the radio, what you see in social media on a daily basis, you feel you need to conform yourself to sound like that in order to get the popularity, the views, you know what I mean? Like to get up there. Like I get it.
Yeah.
But man, like I just want to tell like half of the singers I know, like don't sing like Tory Lanez. Don't go after trying to sing like Daniel C. Like, just be you. Like, and it's hard as an artist in general to, especially when you're starting out and when you're young, like your early 20s, like, it's hard to not sound like somebody you idolize because you don't have a blueprint when you first start out. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to idolize certain people. In your sound, you're gonna sound like them. But over time, and hopefully over time, what should happen is you learn your voice, as you said, and you realize what works for you, what beats work for you, what you know what I mean, like what melodies your voice, you know, can really harmonize and use and work with. It's a it's a struggle. It's a struggle. I feel like I haven't necessarily, me personally, I don't think I've found and completed my sound because I'm experimenting with new things. I've even started experimenting a tiny smidget with auto-tune, not like a whole bunch, but like a splash of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's all about finding your sound. It's all about finding your sound, and it's fun and frustrating at the same time. But it's also cool that I can send you records and you'll add your mix or your twist to them. And usually 80% of the time I fuck with it. Like, it's rare that I'll hear something and I'm like, take that out. Or like, don't do that. Like, you usually do a great job with, like, adding your own twist or adding your creativity to it, which is dope. So,
I appreciate that. A lot of times I feel like more of a DJ when I'm mixing because I'm like, you know, I hear this here and then I'm like, oh, I got to add this delay, boom, boom, you know. And like, I mean, I mess around with delay all the time, and half the time you're like, "Hey, can you turn that down?"
Yeah, because I'm not a delay. Yeah, and I learned that from trial, and like from my earlier years, because we would add me and my friends would add that delay effect.
Yeah.
In our stuff. And I learned my voice just isn't. It's just not the one that really uses too much delay. It has to be a certain energy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's why I like Can You Live so much, because it's got that bounce, like, live.
I mean, the song, I think I recently sent you, one of the songs Told Me that I sent you. When you listen to that, if you haven't heard it already, you can hear like it's straight bounce. Like, I feel like my style is starting to cater into like a southern type of bounce rather than the meticulous rap cadence of like northeastern New York style, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that'll be interesting to hear. Yeah. I'm excited.
Oh no, you're fucking it.
Right on. So I'm going to go ahead and play a sample of the song Sing About Me, which we were talking about earlier, featuring Cam Taylor, Izzy, Kayla Shea, and Mr. Kwest Markz himself. and we'll be right back. All right, so you're going to sing it for us?
You gonna sing it for you? Oh, man. Yeah, I don't got the singing voice. I don't have the singing voice. You seriously want me to sing this?
I'm just messing with
You seriously want me to sing this?
I'm sedated to the max, moonwalking on the track. Levitated, I just medicated with the bump. Medicated to the slap, agitated, I just ventilated with the herb. Yeah, I'm freaky when you wet, no, it's more than just a word. Treating pussy as a verb, what I do is what you heard. Yeah, friends turning into ghosts, death feeling close. Doubt is in my mind, listen to the reverend praying that he let him in the pearly heaven, sitting in the sky. Ask him, God, why did you take him? Why can't I replace him? We should switch those places. He had dreams worth making. I had animosity, death was dodging me. Animosity, death was dodging me. I was falling like autumn with the leaves. I was falling like autumn with the leaves. Ecstasy was my only ecstasy. Ecstasy was my only ecstasy. Trap my mind and all I do is breathe. Trap my mind and all I do is breathe. I've been living with the doubt. They been pimping off the clout. Fuck them niggas. Niggas say they love me, that's absurd. Only see it with the words. I've been drinking in a nigga trying not to swerve. Maybe landing on the curb. I've been writing on my wrongs. I've been dying all along. They'll never sing my songs. They don't sing my songs.
I know I'm at the bottom. I know it can be worse. I know I've said some things. I know it hurts. I pray you sing about me when all is said and done. It's all just in my head. It's all just in my head.
Yeah, so that was Sing About Me. That was the song we were talking about earlier, about that big session that you had, and you weren't here that much longer after that session. I remember thinking like, oh man, like I feel like the rest of your sessions are going to be kind of like this, because it was a really cool day.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I'm out.
Yeah, man, I had to go. Unfortunately, I had to go. My finances weren't straight. that was the main reason. The finances weren't that straight, so I had to move back home, recoup, restart. It's going better now. But I was honestly like one of the two things I would say that I missed about the area is like going to your studio, and that would be like number one, because I started to get a bond with everybody that was coming in and out. And I was starting to I feel like get accepted into like the dope Pensacola artists that I just met. And I was like, yeah, I found a new rap family. And it's like, yeah, but that lease is up in about a few months. Like, that sucks. That really sucks. And in hindsight, like I really do wish like as soon as I moved down there, maybe like a month or two into me moving, like I Googled like studios and actually went to go and visit you and stuff like that, but man,
that's crazy.
It'll happen again.
It didn't seem like it was that long, but we definitely, once we get COVID out of the way, plan on heading up there too.
Yeah, we're supposed to be down there in May, but good old COVID.
Yeah, but it's all good because I know people are itching to get back. I'm telling you, once it starts getting a little more lenient, it's going to be even better than before.
Yeah.
As long as all those places haven't closed.
Yeah. That's a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses are going out because they're not getting their usual sales. A lot of places closing. DC, everywhere. Wow.
Yep. I think Shizuko just closed the location that they're at. They said that they're going to be finding a different location. So that was kind of scary. A lot of people are bummed out because that was one of the coolest places for shows. I think I stopped going anywhere else and was just kind of sticking to that place.
Oh, so they made their money through shows for the most part. I guess I'm assuming if they're like financially, man, that sucks.
But on the sad note, we're about to go on a little commercial break. Let you guys check out some of the other podcasts that are on this channel and WPMM Radio, Saturdays with Luke 1817. And then we'll ask Quest to do some impressions. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Jimmy from Fresco Recording Services telling you about a new podcast that we have called Emerald Radio. It's my chance to sit down with the local musicians, producers, and other music industry people and talk about our growing music community here in Pensacola, Florida. So check it out on the Fresco Recording Services YouTube channel. Thanks.
From the staff here at WPMM Radio, we just want to take this time out and thank all the listeners, local and worldwide, for the love and support you have shown us at this station. We play more music. WPMM Online Radio.
All right, so I want to know why you didn't use the original audio I sent you for the dial-in.
What? There was too many crusts. Everybody would have been like, "What are you talking about?" I needed everybody to know what was said. Like only like a few people, only like 3 or 4 people would have been like, "I get it." Everybody else would have been like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Bro, I had to put on a tie.
Had to put on the suit and a tie. I was like, yeah, if everybody was like in on like why you're saying what you're saying, it's like, yeah. But I didn't want to confuse the people that didn't know. They were just like, what the fuck am I listening? First impressions are everything. All right. That's all I'm saying. First impressions are everything. You've mixed my whole album, shit. You've mixed all the twin stuff, so like, you know, you understand. You understand. Your name is over everything.
Why don't you tell us where we can find you?
Oh, okay. You can find me everywhere. Instagram and Twitter. That's my everywhere. Spotify at Kwest Markz, KwestMarkz. That's on every social media platform. Honestly, keep it real simple for the viewers, for the listeners out there. Yeah, at Kwest Markz.
Cool. Yeah. So we were at What Is Twin? It's TWXXN. Tell me about it.
Okay, so Twin started as a group with me and my friend Ransom. So years ago, like about a decade ago, like is when I met her, and I met her through a friend of hers who met us through a friend of mine. Like we were all trying to come together to do music, basically. And at the time, I guess she just wasn't really willing to do it over the years. So finally, when I came back home, she was like, I'm just ready to try the music thing. I was like, all right, cool. So we do that. We write. So we made Dopamine. So Dopamine came about. We both found the same beat on the internet. We both wrote to it, but we didn't tell each other we were writing to it. This was unknown. So the ironic part of it was the whole middle part with the singing and the melodies I wrote, and the rapping, the verses in the beginning and the end is what she wrote. All ironic. Like I was struggling. Like I don't know what to put in the beginning or the end of this shit. Like this is just a hard ass melody with nothing. And she was like, I don't know what the fuck to put in the middle because I got these verses. And then we were in my basement just going back and forth, and she spit her verse and I did my melody, and I was like, you know what? This shit gonna work. This shit will actually work. So I think about 2 weeks, a week or 2 later, we go to the engineer up here, Will, shout out Quality Touch Studios. We recorded it up here, got it mixed and mastered by you, put it out, and performed it, and everybody loved it. So we did a little show in DC, and we got together with a family friend of Ransom. He heard of our performance, he heard our music, and he wanted to work with us. So Twin is basically how TDE is with like Black Hippie. You know what I mean? Like it's like, so we have our own solo stuff, as you know, that we work on, but there's times where we will come together and make songs and stuff like that. And that's pretty much the idea behind it. Like, we don't want to put too much pressure with like us having to be a group that we neglect our individual wants and needs sonically as artists, That's
awesome.
So it's something that's like, we have a few dozen songs together, but we're both like picky. So it's about putting it together. But it's just, that's how it came about, honestly, like complete in a sense, accident in a way.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we picked the same beat. We both wrote different parts to it, but we had no prior communication. Like, we knew nothing of this until we were in my basement playing beats because we were trying to find inspiration. And she was like, "Oh, I got this beat," and I was like, "Oh, I got the same beat," and that's pretty much how it started.
That's crazy. So she she was pretty new to the music thing.
This is her first. Yeah, she's really new.
Wow, because she sounds like really confident.
Yeah,
I would have never guessed.
I think a lot of people don't know. Like, wow. She just started.
And guess what? And what got me too was that I didn't realize it was her on "Sing About Me."
You didn't know? Oh yeah. She's the cover.
Yeah, because I remember when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this is cool," and I didn't think anything. I thought you just found it or something.
No.
And then it wasn't like till 3 days ago, like you or somebody had posted that picture and said something about it, and I was like, "Oh, it's her." I was like, "Dude."
It's funny how it all comes full circle because he wasn't rapping at the time I made the cover. Like, I sent her the song,
insane.
And I gave her to let her listen to it and everything. And I was like, I need like a cover art. And I was like, because the original idea, because there was supposed to be a video for "Sing About Me," and the video about "Sing About Me" was what was the concept? The concept had a woman in it, and basically the woman pretty much killed me. Like, I know it's so long, I'm not going into the drawn out details, but basically it was about a woman, and she was the reason I expired. And I told her that, and she sent me some like pictures to use, and I was like, well, what about this one? She was like, all right. And so that's how that happened. Fast forward, like you said, it's crazy. Like, we're in like kind of like in a group in a sense. So yes, that also just weird happenings, man. Just like weird coincidences, just lining up, making dope shit happen. But I've been trying to, I say we because it's me and another person and a few other people that tried to get her into doing music. But it was a long battle to get to where we are now. But no, she's relatively new, and honestly, like, she gets better every time. Like, the hooks, melodies, you'll hear a dozen of songs that she's done. Like, we're in the works of sending those to you, perfecting what we can up here, obviously. But yeah, it's just a nice little experiment.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Man, I would have never guessed. And people have listened to the songs that you guys did, like, say the same thing, like, wow, she's really good. And I just would have never guessed. So recently we had you do an interview on WPMM radio with Luke 1817, and we talked about On Vibe, which is a Twin song.
Yeah.
And this song was awesome to work on. You randomly sent it over while we were still in the middle of working on your album. Because Twin had like a TV performance, and you guys performed this one, which I'll link the performance in the description, as well as all the handles and everything to everybody. But you sent over the stems and said that we want that like funk vibe to it. And at the moment, I had like a couple of days where the studio was slammed, and I was like not in a zone where I could sit here and help produce on this song. I went over to Joanna and I was like, look, Kwest sent this song over. They need it like back pretty soon because of an event coming up. And I was like, I need you to help me produce it. I was like, whatever you hear, like, I'll just listen to you, like, because I can't think of anything right now.
Right. Yeah.
And like, she came up with all the claps and like, I think we need some guitar here, and like Jimmy came in. We were like, Jimmy, do this and this and this, and like Jimmy knocked it out of the park. He did some solos, and that song was really cool to work on. And I actually I don't know if you remember when you called me after we sent it to you. I like, you were telling me your reaction to it, and it was so cool.
Yeah.
Like I was like, hold on, I can't hear you. But what I was actually doing is I was like hooking up my phone to the interface because I wanted to record your reaction, and I still have it saved on my.
Oh, you have it saved?
Yeah.
I gotta hear it. I have
dude.
not heard this a day in my life. Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, dude, it was so cool because you were like, yo,
Yeah.
that is fire.
That is, I don't know if you remember. So I had that beat for On Vibes. I had that beat when I was in Pensacola.
I didn't
I had
know.
that beat when I was, cause no, there's an old trashy demo on your computer, but it wasn't called on
What?
Vibe.
I
It was
don't remember
called
that.
what the.
Probably called Crust something.
No, was it? It was called, I think, Wild. Was it Wild?
That sounds familiar, actually.
Something like that. Something like that. And I got the beat. The beat was dope. And I remember recording my verse. It was the same exact verse. I remember recording my verse down there, and I couldn't think of shit for the hook. Like there was just a blank for the hook. Like I had something for the hook, and it's in the demo version. Please, for the love of God, do not play it. But like the hook, it just I just didn't have it. So I purchased that beat and everything. I had that beat for almost a full year before I recorded it. And I had to get ransom on it, and honestly, I feel like she bodied me on that song, like to this day.
Yeah.
But that was a fun record to work on. Because coming up with the hook was such a challenge, and it was dope because I had two engineers for the first time ever. For one, I had an engineer on record himself on the record. I don't think anybody knows this. Fabio's you're on Vibe.
Oh, that's right.
But he knows this as well. Will, the engineer in Quality Touch, is also on Vibe.
What?
So,
I didn't know that.
So he's the talk box. He's the one that goes, well.
For real?
I've never used a talk box effect a day in my life.
What?
I knew how to use auto tune, but it's different when you use a talk box. So, studio time, I'm paying for it. It's like, all right, I'm not getting it. So I need somebody here that can get it. So Will added that into the song. So that's also a behind the scenes, you know what I mean? Like little tidbit. But that record was fun. I like that record. And for a while after I made that song, I think I sent you another one, but I don't think you did anything with it. But for a while, I was on that funk type of rap record making because it was fun to make. You add in the different instruments, you add in the different effects, you add in the vocals and the chorus, and it got us on TV. We performed it on TV. There's little kids that I know of that apparently, their parents recorded the performance and they play it back to this day and they love it.
Dude.
I haven't met them yet. That would be cool if I can during this whole Corona thing's over. But that was a very fun record. That was probably top three. Honestly, that was probably top three songs I've recorded because I recorded that song about a good 5 times. I am not exaggerating because I did it at Will's. I did it at the studio with our other engineer and manager, Bashir. Shout out to Bashir in DC. So. Man, that record went through a lot. But if you go into your database in your computer or whatever and look at Wildflower, you will hear the difference between the two. You'll be glad that On Vibe was made.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. So what was the experience like performing on live TV?
Man, I was nervous as hell. So when I got there, I was nervous. When I walked to the door and everything, as soon as I walked to the door, I felt the small little jitters, and I was like, oh, shit. So as it got closer to, showtime, I got less nervous. I don't know what it is. When I perform, I get a little bit less nervous when my time draws near, because, I tell my anxiety to shut the fuck up and I need to focus. And we did a lot of setting up with the camera, what's good, we were told not to step out of this box or this area here, or you won't be on TV. Like, it was pretty dope. We didn't have to do any, like, the makeup stuff. Like, you know, I think that would have been kind of tough a little bit, like, be in the back with my little chair, and they, like, styled me up a little bit. There's none of that. But but it was a cool experience. Once the camera started rolling, like, I just envisioned, like, I was doing a regular performance. You know what I mean? I looked at it as having your own personal cameraman in the crowd. You know what I mean? Just trying to capture some dope shots. And that's kind of like how I shifted my perspective. Instead of thinking like, oh shit, thousands of people are probably watching this, like across the region.
How'd you guys prepare for it?
Dude, so I've never done so much preparation ever in my life. And in a way, I feel bad because I feel like I should have. But man, we were doing practices like 2-3 times a week for like 2, 3, 4 hours. Not like 2-3 hours. We recorded some of the footage too. There's a dude out here named Audio Heen. Shout out to Audio Heen. We performed at Bashir's place in DC. Hit Me, Ransom, even our DJ. Like, our DJ came over, had his DJ equipment. Shout out to KOTJ, being our DJ for the show and for the set. We would, all three of us would come together like 2-3 times a week, and we would perform for like 2-3 hours. And it was multiple songs, of course, but, you know, getting like in sync for certain things, it worked out. Because when we got on TV, like, we would do movements and we'd be on sync without even looking at each other, because we got so used to performing that song like day in and day out, like 2 or 3 weeks straight. So the preparation was definitely something noted, like for me personally, for even future events whenever COVID's over. But it was no pressure. Like, I didn't feel any too much of angst or whatever. It was more like I'm here to do preparation because I'm here to do like great on television for the first time. But it was fun. It wasn't really as stressful as I thought it would be to be on TV and to prepare. It's so natural, honestly. If anything, I don't know if that's a telling sign or not, but it was fun. It was fun. I would definitely do it again without any hesitation.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and play a piece of the song on Vibe just so people can get an idea of kind of like that sound. And I'm always going to have links to all the songs I play on these podcasts below. Nice. That way you can go to it and go to Kwest Markz page. If you want to give your handles again, and then we'll jump right in.
My handles for every platform is at Kwest Markz, KwestMarkz, all one, word, no underscores or nothing like that. And yes, check out Nowadays. It's on all platforms. Mixed by Fabio. Cool thing.
All right, this is
the only fan here that I got. Plot thinking when the text stop hitting a few. Mind tripping when the sex stop hitting is true. Out of luck when you're on your last dollar trying to gamble for some change, but the only thing played is you. That's some humbling shit. Same time, that's a dangerous trip. Got the baggage right here, I admit. I ain't trying to commit. Spark something with a little conversation. Probably in the evening saying it's lit. Let me talk my shit. I ain't into buying bouquets. You can be my bouquet. You a wildflower I pick.
Just dropped that dollar. Air Force Ones had to pop my collar. Baby fat suit, 7 jeans. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all Will.
That's crazy, dude. I would have never guessed. All right, so let's jump back to your personal projects. What's next for you, and how are you going to approach it based on the experience that you had with the last tape?
Honestly, I'm not trying to compare it to the last one. Every project that I've made or songs that I've made in the past, usually I try to base it around how I feel in the moment. And I don't know. I don't like I said, I treat music as like a diary. So nowadays, it's kind of like putting the books. It's like a closed chapter, whatever the hell I was going through in life.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to really duplicate or anything. I would say my next tape would be a more refined sound. I feel like nowadays it was a good combination of different types of records, you know what I mean? But I feel like my next tape is going to be more concise, like when it comes to beat choice, when it comes to style. I'm trying to get a little more concise with it.
Yeah.
But definitely, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a lot more melodies. It's going to be a lot more me trying to sing, because I've realized me trying to reach out to other people to sing and waiting like 10 months for something to come back. I might as well just do it myself. So it's going to be more of me singing. There's going to be more melodies. Obviously, the bars are there. So I would say a little bit more a little bit more spiritual, but with a southern bounce to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think I've come up with a tape title. I think I'm going to call it Wrapped in Prayer. I think that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be called. It's going to be wrapped in prayer with like an R, rapping instead of the W. But it's going to be more so like that. Subject to change, you know what I mean? One of the Told Me song, I will say like that's definitely going to be a song that's going to be on that tape, and that's probably going to be the next song I put out. Most likely, it's going to be the next song I put out. That song in itself, when people hear it, is pretty much going to be my next tape.
Right on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, as crusty as the last.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hella crust, stuff crust. It's gonna be good.
Well, man, I appreciate you calling in and sitting outside. We've been hearing all the frogs and crazy swamp things going on.
Yeah, I don't got the good connection in my house. My router is. I didn't want to drop the call like mid-conversation, so that's why I'm out here in fucking nature and shit.
No, it's all good. Time. I appreciate you taking the time. As always, thank you for sending work this way and sending other people this way. It's much appreciated.
Oh, definitely. For sure.
Again, I'm going to have all the links to all Kwest's music at the link or at the description below. And what else? I'm sure I missed a ton of stuff that I wanted to talk about, but that leaves room for next time.
Definitely.
So the outro song is going to be what? What do you want to play?
Oh, the outro song. Let's see here. We can play Sick of the Plug. I like Sick of the Plug. That's right. Izzy's on that song. Ransom's on that song. My man Mozel's on the song. He's the guy that's on Fall. Shout out to Moselle. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to Cam. Shout out to Kayla Shea. Shout out to Issa. I got to shout out everybody that did something on my tape. Shout out to Kivia that was on Can You Live. Shout out to everybody that came through. How we put it together. Obviously Fabio, who mixed this whole tape plus a few more that's just in the room. I'll think about releasing those or not. Yeah, man. Nowadays, out on all platforms.
Nowadays. All right, dude. Well, this is Sick of the Plug by Kwest Markz. Go ahead and get those links down below and follow them. And until next time.
Till next time.
Bitches only serving out pussy, and niggas only serving out weed. You wanna be the judge and the jury, but who's got what a nigga need? The bitches only serving out pussy, and niggas only serving out weed. You wanna be the judge and the jury, but who's got what a nigga need? I got
got the wood in my palm, feeling death in my grip. Keep one in the chamber and pack the rest in the clip. I ain't model behavior, I'd rather bottle my shit. Praying this liquor to save you without me having to vent as I get low. Imagine my shit so erratic to fight those. I had to be Morse code and tapping in new bitches. New drugs, get me loose with it. Chasing highs, battling the lows, cause the views hitting. Need your guidance legit, it's not just guiding your hips. Today I'm needing your words, the other day was your lips. You let me borrow your dimes, you let me borrow your zip. And I've been thirsting for time.